Hare Krishna, everyone. We all regularly go through moments of crisis or weakness, confusion, and knowing what to do, and yet not being able to find the strength to do it. So it's really fascinating that right at the beginning of the Bhagavad-Gita, Arjuna has a similar moment of crisis. It's a similar moment of weakness where he's essentially having a panic attack because he is coming face to face with the reality that he is now going to be fighting and possibly killing his relatives and friends and guides and teachers. And I find this part of the Gita very fascinating and actually inspiring and hopeful. It gives me hope that even someone like Arjuna, who is the greatest warrior of his time, who has Kṛṣṇa right next to him, his best friend is there, and who has all this wisdom, he knows what is right and wrong, and yet he seems to be confused and has anxiety about doing his dharma in that moment. So we're going to be speaking about that briefly today. Welcome to our next session of Bhagavad-Gita Basics, where regularly each week we'll be going over some key verses of the Gita. I'll be going live on Instagram here, and just want to go over the entire Gita, like a broad overview. So please do join me every week. We did one last week about dharma, about the essence of the Gita itself. Why is it spoken? It's a war of dharma. It's Kṛṣṇa telling Arjuna how to, go about doing his duty. And although Arjuna already knows all of this, it's really important to realize that all of us can have a moment of weakness. So right at the beginning, at the beginning of chapter 1, we see that Duryodhan, the other side, the other camp, is extremely eager to fight. He's, beating his chest, and he's so excited. He's like amped and pumped. He has just one goal in mind. He wants to destroy, kill the Pandavas. So he is fearless and has no doubt. Whereas Arjuna, on the other hand, he's a kind-hearted, pure soul. He's a Mahatma. He is a devotee of the Lord. So although he has no external fear based on, physical strength, he's not a coward, he's fearless, yet his mind is overwhelmed with compassion because he can't fathom killing his friends and family. So obviously this is a sign of a sadhu, this is a sign of a great person, but knowing when to forgive and when to fight is really important. It's an important part of the Gita, and this is basically the crux of all of this wisdom. Knowing what is dharma and what is our mind telling us to do. Sometimes we think we know what the right thing to do is. From an external point of view, if we don't know the depth of this wisdom, we would think, why is Kṛṣṇa telling Arjuna to fight? What kind of a god would tell his devotee to kill in his name or on his behalf? But when you peel the layers, we realize that Duryodhan is relentless. He has tried to kill the Pandavas many, many times. And Arjuna is a warrior. If he doesn't protect himself and his citizens as such, Yudhishthira was already crowned prince. So it is their duty to uphold the dharma, to protect themselves after Yudhishthira has done so many acts of violence against him. Yudhishthira tried to kill them in every way possible, poison them, burn their house down, be violent against Draupadi. He's done every type of aggression that is described in the Vedas that could bring upon this act. It would justify killing Duryodhan many, many times over. So the Pandavas have tried everything in their power to be peaceful and to resolve this issue. And of course, Duryodhana wants to have nothing to do with that. He is so full of greed and hatred and envy. He will not rest until he sees the Pandavas dead. So in that kind of situation, it is absolutely unacceptable to forgive and do nothing. So if Arjuna was to just, okay, we've got to let it go, forgive, that would be adharma. That would be unacceptable in every sense, and it actually teaches us in our life of when to fight and when to forgive. We have to know what is right and wrong. So the impetus to read the Gita is to actually understand what is dharma, what is our duty in this life, and how to get the strength to do that duty. Because although Arjuna knows, now he's coming to that point where compassion or duty. We can't falsely have compassion. Srila Prabhupada describes it like if we're just trying to save the coat of a drowning man and we don't actually save the man, it's pointless. So compassion can be truly misplaced. Ahimsa can be misplaced. We've got to have the nuanced understanding of when to do what. So it's really interesting. Arjuna puts forth every excuse in the book. Once he comes to that point of overwhelming crisis in his mind, he makes all these excuses to Kṛṣṇa that it's sinful. I can't kill my guru. Bhishma Dev, his great-grandfather, and Dronacharya and his cousins are all there. It is unacceptable to kill them. It's going to be sinful. I can't do it. And if I destroy the dynasty, then traditions will be destroyed, and with the destruction of traditions, adharma will be prevalent, and women will not be protected, and if they're exploited, then there'll be unwanted progeny, and society will crumble. On and on, he gives all these examples of how it would be horrible to destroy the Kuru dynasty. And it really, it makes sense, right? You hear that and you think, yes, Arjuna makes sense. But actually they are completely unrelated. To be fair, he's just coming out with excuses now. And for me, it's really interesting to see that, because we do it on a daily basis. We create scenarios and excuses to not do what we're meant to do because we're in this moment of weakness, or we're being lazy in the moment, or are fearful of the outcome. But dharma is separate. It's like when if I'm trying to talk to my kids and say we've got to do our homework, and then Adi at that moment or Haridev, they'll be like, no, I need to go to the toilet, or I'm hungry. Right when you're supposed to do what you're supposed to do, all these other excuses come to your mind, and it's amazing how we do it. The mind plays these tricks on us that actually, no, we don't need to do that right now. We'll just postpone it. We'll do it a bit later. Or Haridev regularly wants to eat his dessert before the food, and we're just like, no, you can eat it after the meal. And if we don't give it to him, he thinks, it's so unfair. Why are you doing this to me? So compassion can sometimes be used as a crutch that, no, it's unfair. You're doing something that's, unfair, but it's not unfair. What Duryodhana has done, it is absolutely essential that he be stopped. And that is dharma in that moment. That is the only dharma for Arjuna. There's no other, if I kill him, I get pap. Those are all side points. Even though they're true, like Haridev might be hungry, that might be true. Right when he has to do his homework, they don't actually relate. In that time and moment, it's the wrong truth. So there can be, it's interesting to analyze it and see how is our mind tricking us? How is our mind sidestepping the call of action at hand? what we're supposed to do in the present moment, because we do it on a daily basis. I do it on a daily basis where I'm like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. I'm too tired, I have too many things going on. And instead of just stepping up in the moment, I will allow the mind to take over. So it's a real battle of finding the internal spiritual courage to do the right thing at the right time versus allowing the mind to convince us of lesser truths. It's not untrue that it's wrong to kill your cousins and your family members. Of course it's true, it's wrong. But in this moment, the greatest truth, the greater truth is that Duryodhana must be stopped. And everyone who is supporting him has to be stopped. So it's really, I just find it so fascinating because at every point of the Gita, Krishna is allowing it to be completely relatable to us. Sure, it's a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, but it is there for us. This wisdom is, is given to us freely. It's there for our taking. And it would be a great loss if we weren't able to, just uncover the layers and benefit from it. Because apart from being a religious text, the Gita is just giving us life tools. How to rise up to the occasion, how to not get overwhelmed by the chatter of the mind telling us, oh, but it would be horrible, the loss of losing Duryodhana would be too much, and losing the Kauravas would be too much. What will you be left with? Arjuna was trying to rationalize, well, what's the point of winning this kingdom if there's no one left to enjoy it with? It's a valid point. So many times we allow fear to take over the mind. The mind tells us, well, if we do the right thing in this moment, we might lose this friendship. We might lose this relationship. We might lose out on this greater job opportunity. So let's just tolerate some more abuse or whatever it is, some more adharma in our life because of that fear. But obviously, if we do that again and again, if we allow that adharma to proliferate, to keep going, to grow around us, ultimately, there's just no happiness, no peace available to us. The greatest losers will be us. So I just wanted to come on and share this with you all. If there's any questions, feel free to put them on here. And otherwise, I'll try to come on every Monday, a bit earlier than this. But this will be a weekly thing where we pick key verses in a sequential way and we'll cover the entire Gita. So last week we talked about dharma and how, what does dharma mean? Our existence is to uphold and sustain. The root of, and dharma, the root dṛ is to uphold, is to sustain. And if we live our life in a way to sustain dharma, in a way that sustains the system that Krishna has created, where we help each other, we say, help Mother Earth, we look after each other, and we maintain civility in society, where we look to do dana, yajna, tapa, japa. When we do things for others, we're sustaining each other. That is dharma. Doing our duty, being virtuous, doing something above and beyond ourselves. Unfortunately, modern day philosophy tells us, oh, me first, then everyone else. That is the the wrong way to look at it. That is the opposite of dharma. Dharma says our greatest field of influence should be addressed first. How can I help Mother Earth? How can I help society? How can I help my family? How can I help my friends? Then, naturally, I will be helped. I don't even have to think about myself, because the sphere of influence, the dharma, the greater sanatana dharma, then desha dharma, jati dharma, kula dharma, stri dharma, when all of those are complete and fulfilled, my sva-dharma will automatically be fulfilled. I will be joyful and peaceful and always on the right path, not being overwhelmed by confusion and anxiety. Anxiety is developing in us because we don't know what to do. We don't have a path, we don't have guides, we just have social media and Netflix and, internet. That these are our role models nowadays. We're getting our life philosophy from social media. So I'm here to squeeze in that little Bhagavad-Gita and encourage us to come back to the books, come back to the basics, come back to this eternal wisdom that's there for us. Let's do this together where we can rely on a higher source, rely on divine source for our inspiration and our guide on what to do when, so we don't have to live in confusion and anxiety. Right? I hope that was made a bit of sense. If you do appreciate this, if you find this useful, please do share it so that we can get the message of the Gita out as far and wide. Hare Krishna. I'll see you all next week.